Okay, I want to say hello again everybody and welcome to another episode of Wisdom and Nature with me, Richard Clark, or Wilshire Richard, as my name is online. In today's episode we're going to speak about fear. This is the first real topic, in the series. The first video was the introduction to the series. In this video we're going to be talking about our first topic, which is fear. I believe that fear exists in almost every living thing, human beings especially. Who knows, maybe trees and plants too, but animals have it, it's a natural instinct. But we're speaking from a human level, and fear is one of our many feelings that we have. So many people are too afraid to admit that they are also afraid of certain things, or fear certain things. So it does exist. Now we've got fear being a total, scary feeling within us, worry, scared, however you want to call this thing. Anxiety, being scared, there's a blatant fear. And we also have another kind of fear which people don't really look into and study carefully and clearly, I feel, which basically is more of a concern about something. It's not being afraid or terrified, it's being concerned. Kind of aware as such, aware that they either lack the necessary things they need in order for them to be successful, get somewhere, or to avoid whatever it may be. There is something that's blocking them, there's an obstacle that's blocking their path, let's say. There's a problem that has arisen. There is some kind of difficulty, some kind of challenge that they may be faced with. Be it because it's a path that they've chosen, or be it because they've had no choice. They're afraid of this problem they could be facing and how that they may have to deal with it. They may be, concerned, as in that they are consciously aware to some degree that they either don't have, as in they are lacking, ability to deal with this. But to be actually afraid then, and is useless, as I said before, right? It's not about being confident or afraid. It's about what you can do, what you know, and what your abilities are. So if you know that you can't swim, let's say, then you would definitely be afraid of deep water, let's say, right? If you are afraid of heights, let's say, well, it's a kind of different matter straight away, isn't it? If you were afraid of heights, high places, then what would that be? Fear of falling to your death because you can't fly from a high building or a mountain, let's say. I think that's very normal. But if you're able to control your feelings and be calm in any kind of situation where there could be a possible threat of a dangerous instances, that's a good thing. But the fear itself is no use, is what I'm saying. The fear itself is also no use for it. Some people are saying that fear is a good thing. because it can drive you on. But you've got to realise it's not really the fear, it's the drive that comes. So your passion has always got to be stronger than your fear. Your passion to do something is what can push you on in life. If your passions are stronger than your fears, then that's gonna overpower that. But if your fear outweighs and is more stronger than your passion, then basically what that is the lack of the desire. You know, but you have to be logical. You know, it's like if you want to open a door and you say, well, I don't have the key. So then you wouldn't be scared about anything, would you? You just don't have the key. So it's the same as knowledge. It's the same as anything. Either you have it or you don't. Can you speak another foreign language? Can you run, so many meters or miles, at a certain speed? And are you in great physical fitness and shape, for example? Can you do what other people can do? Can you, whatever? Can you handle certain things? What do you know? These are just brute facts. This is just what you are, who makes what you are and who you are. It's nothing to do with fear. Okay, now let's look at some other features of fear. We'll put it into context. There are two kinds of fear, I believe. Two very good examples here. One is the fear of the inside, like of trusting yourself, or lack of trust in yourself, in certain aspects, as we've just covered, basically. Because although you are living in the world, it's still to do with you, your thoughts, your actions, and all of that, okay? The mind affects the choices you make are in your mind, what you think, and then that affects the action, and everything comes from that, the result comes from that. But, and then whatever came before that, such as studying or building up your knowledge or experience or physical abilities, is what ultimately is the fuel in the car, basically, for example. But the other kind of fear is when you are afraid of other people. When you are afraid of other people's thoughts, of other people's attitudes, when you are afraid of your own appearance in the eyes of others, when you are afraid of how other people will see you, what they think of you, if you fit in to their way of life, will you be accepted by people in the world around you or in the society around you, which is fake, built upon the natural earth, which is supposed to, we're supposed to be really living in harmony, believe it or not, but it seems there's a lot of chaos across the world. The true thing is, really, we invent things, technology, everything, all of what society and civilization is built upon, medicine, education, technology, science, all of that, farming, whatever, it's all, transport is all built on trying to make our lives easier and better, right? So, you just, but there's some people, as I say, a lot too many people are afraid that they're not going to fit in, or that they have to change certain things about themselves to adapt to certain, as far as I see it, is unnatural. Because there's human beings carrying on that are not acting natural. It's an unnatural way of being for many people. So individuals try to adapt themselves, the way they carry themselves, the way they speak, the way they dress, the way they act, the way they do many things, so that they will be accepted by the crowds, the people around them. Now this makes a lot of sense when you're talking about jobs, work and education, fitting in with human beings, because we need to communicate. But the thing is, there's a lack of trust between others. People are so based upon fear themselves. And you've got to remember, fear is no good for anyone, but fear breeds two kinds of people. Fear breeds, you could say, cowards and heroes and cowards, the same way as confidence can too. So there we can see again an example of yin and yang, yin and yang. Like I said in the last video, where in yin you can find yin and yang, and in yang you can find yin and yang, right? It's the same. So in this is the same thing. You can find the hero and the coward both being born from fear. And also the same for confidence. You can breed heroes and cowards, but we have to go into context and look into that into detail. In this video we're talking about fear, and you can do your own research. That's what I advise, rather than just following words of me or anyone. Anyway, okay, so fear. Well, catch your breath back. In life, really though, with fear, it can breed two kinds of people, the heroes and the cowards. Or let's put it a different way. Not the heroes. Let's say it a different way. Let's say it a different way. This is what I originally wanted to say. I wanted to say that fear can breed two kinds of people, the strong and the weak. Yeah? Fear can breed a person, can make a person timid and so afraid of everything in the world around them. So that their very existence is always on that tipping point. It's like they're barely surviving in their life, if at all. Some people even give up or die from ill health due to worry sometimes, or they can commit suicide or whatever. They just give up on their life. They may take negative paths which will ultimately lead to their own destruction or something, the equivalent almost. But there's nothing the equivalent. There's nothing really the equivalent to death, I don't think. It's just a way of thinking. And this comes from fear, again, exactly, the word, right? Negative thoughts. And you cannot turn around a situation, and you cannot even try to be positive and fix a situation to try to take more positive steps forward. So the truth is, while you're alive, even if you're in ill health, you can always make some psychological choices. Even if you are someone who's ill in bed, in a hospital, dying, you can still decide, even if you're in your last dying breaths, you can still decide to breathe in slightly more into your lungs or out. Just try to look, of course, move your neck, turn your head slightly to look at something. You can always make those choices. You can always make choices on some level which control over yourself, what you're made up. It's nothing to do with the outside world. There comes a point in everybody's life, I believe, where, like windows in life, where things around you just don't matter, and all you're in tune with is your physical being. There's times where I've been worried, or I would have been worried about something under normal circumstances, but there's been times where I've woken up in the mornings in my bed and I've been so tired, I've been so just woken up, so if you were to scream and shout at me, boo, or say, I just wouldn't jump because I've got no energy, and I'm so I'm just feeling my own energy or lack of it, So you know what I mean? So you've got to get back into yourself and your energy. If your energy is all over the place and all you're doing is hanging on to other energies outside of you or trying to, it's like you're grabbing at thin air anyway, it's nothing. But as long as you are trying to grab onto something that's not there and hold that for balance, you start to learn a lot of things. You either learn nothing and just be totally off of balance, or you learn that the only balance you can get is from relying on yourself and your physical state, how you're standing on that ice, let's say, if you're ice skating. We talk about this in martial arts and Kung Fu especially. Okay. So, so it's like in martial arts, I always use the same, example. There's many examples you could use. It's like you grab onto a train that's speeding by, it's going to drag you off. It's like you put all of your weight onto a door and you just fall through the door, or pull it open with all of your weight, you go flying back. The same you know, it's like you don't do that, do you? You stand straight and you just use your arms to open and close the door. You don't put your whole weight, because then you can feel, right? So we talk about this in martial arts, in physical combat and grappling and things like that. So, okay, Tai Chi, for example, Wing Chun, for example. But what I'm saying is, it's not the doors and the windows of that. We're talking about the mind here, the fear, the emotion, as in the sway. It's like you don't look at your choices. They say the problem is choices. It was said in the Matrix, but I'm just being real here. Honestly, people don't look at the choice. They look at the possible outcome or the fear that there may be something unknown, because there always is something unknown. Yeah, we can't see. Always be prepared for the unexpected, they say. Hard to do. But what we're saying is, what I'm saying is that some people, or many people, are always afraid of the possible darkness, the possible thing that they may have to deal with, which they're too lazy to confront. They may honestly know that they are lacking in ability or knowledge to deal with that, or the possibility of whatever it may be. They're afraid to actually put in a basic way to cross that bridge when they come to it as such. They'd rather not even go to the bridge. It's like being afraid to go for a job interview because you're afraid that when you go in there you may be rejected. You see, you won't be admitted, you'll be accepted, you know. So if you have your whole life like that, you know, if you walk into somewhere, if you walk up to a door without a key, you're not going to be open. You're not going to be able to open it. If you go into a restaurant with no money, then yeah, you can't buy any food. Yeah, same thing. If you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the experience, the ability, or yeah, fair enough, you can't do things. But what I'm saying is there's some things that you are more ready for than you already know. Because you don't know, if you don't know what you need, you know, then you don't know what you don't need. You won't be able to know if you have it or not already. And some things, believe it or not, you already may have. Some things it depends on, especially with understanding yourself and your abilities. You know, some things are just a matter of you handling yourself and what you have the best you can, making choices, speaking mind, taking the steps. You know, it depends on. Anyway. Going back to what I was saying, I was getting a bit deep in the thick, dense jungle forest here. What I'm basically saying is fear breeds two kinds of people. One kind of person is like a big, strong kind of person, who's like a bully, maybe, even a bully, or someone who's negative. It can be negative. Fear may breed a hero, but fear may also be fear may also breed a bully type person. Someone who's nasty, someone who's full of hate. Someone who wants to just take revenge on the world or blame the whole world for whatever, you know, negativity they've had to put up with in their own lives and pains, okay? Be it based on truly, you know, difficult outside forces they've had to deal with, or be it to do with their own issues, you know, with themselves, with their own issues, yeah. So, you know, but it's like the other one, as we've already said, the other one is the kind of person who becomes so weak also. So what I'm trying to say is, there's weakness in both the weak and the strength, if it's negative. But, you know, if it's positive, you wouldn't call it weakness, so I'm trying to say. We talk about like, we say like yield and overcome, like Tai Chi, for example, Tai Chi, okay, so it's like you know, it's like the softness, the gentleness, yeah? It can help you on the other side too. We're not going to go into too much detail. What I'm trying to say is, if you try to, you may try to be confident, you know, they will tell you. But you're not trying to be afraid, are you? Afraid is a natural feeling. So you have to look at the sources of these two things. They're two different things. If you're naturally confident, it's the same as naturally being afraid, and you're not trying to do anything, are you? You wouldn't try to be afraid, so why would you try to be confident? So it's like trying not to be afraid. That's anything such it doesn't make any sense. You can't really do things like that. Like try to win, or try to understand someone, or try to believe someone, or try to forgive someone, or try to like someone, try to be interested. Try to show your interest, try to, you know what I mean, try to make someone happy, try to win, try to You know what I mean? Make yourself understood. You can only do something to some level. Some things can only be done to a very low level to play your life, even no matter how much your effort is put in. But a little can go very far, depending sort of the outcome, good or bad. But what I'm trying to say is, sometimes there's some things where it just does not matter at all. It just does, you can't even get anything from that. Because it's not natural. What's natural is how you naturally feel about things. How your thoughts come from your natural feeling, like baby would, right? But also, you know, like a kid. But also what's part of nature that says what you really are. So you should be trying to study what you are, what you can do, what you like, what you don't like, what you don't want to do, how you feel, and just don't worry about any crap in the world, even think about it, good or bad, because it's just not going to help you as much as if you don't have that base, I'm saying. You might take a path, you know what I'm trying to say, you walk a good path in life with empty pockets, you know, you can't buy anything, you know, it's like you've got no money, you know what I'm saying, it's the same thing. So don't have any ideas, don't have a cluttered mind, is the thing. You've got to be free in the mind, it's like learning to think nothing, or they're speaking like Zen, you do like no thoughts. The mind, no mind, it means no thoughts exactly as that. It doesn't mean you have no thoughts, but it means no deliberate thoughts about certain things. I'm a big fan of that Alan Watts guy. I think he's great, okay? It's a good example, as I say. But it's like, as I say, we already mentioned, as I said before, about the truth, about, you know, the truth or the Tao or the true way, you know, cannot be said in words. It's like, you know, Lao said in the Tao Te Ching, my favourite book. It's true, you know, it's so true. So many people stray away from all this kind of philosophical stuff because they say, oh, it's too deep, or oh, it's not realistic in this world that we're living in now. And it's true, you can live in a philosophical dream world your whole life, you can read books and all the rest of it. But the real world is what we have to deal with. If you're in a forest, you have to deal with survival tactics. If you're in the real world, you have to use whatever it's going to be to work within society. But we're talking about one thing, we're not talking about BS, we're talking about clearing your mind, being focused on what is reality. If you lose tact, if you lose contact and let go of reality, and you really are losing, if you're out of tune with who you are and what you are, you're making a very big mistake. This is the point I'm trying to make, right? Because you're going to be left as an empty shell, and they can paint you whatever colour they want. You can paint yourself like an eggshell to impress them, dress to impress, speak to impress, do your whole life trying to impress. You can't impress everybody, but what is the meaning of your life? If you choose to be a robot, fair enough. It's like you are so afraid, you're controlled in your life, you choose to make certain steps. So it's you who's making those steps, even those steps. And you choose to do it without any effort, without even trying to be confident, without even trying to be like extra confident to do those things. You just naturally do it because it's just naturally the feeling what's in you to avoid the other side, which is fear. You're taking steps in accordance with the world because you're afraid to be yourself, or you know that it's not going to be useful. So why not then do the same as what everybody else is doing, using their minds, but come back to yourself and say, well, I don't like that. And it doesn't matter what people think, I understand what I think, and I know what I want to do. Because believe you and me, there are people in this world who also feel like that. There's even like anyone, you can be great leaders or whoever, there's people who also feel like that. You've got one head, two arms, two legs. It just doesn't matter. So let me get to the point, right? We've talked about people, we've talked about different kinds of fear, right? And how it's useful, it can help us sometimes, but it's not the fear, it's the drive to do better, okay? Give you the ability and stuff. Okay, so let me go back to what I was saying, that the last point I'm going to make in this, right, for a quick point, this video, because this can go on, we can go into many aspects of different kinds of fear, different kinds of situations, and all the rest of it, branches to different topics, and more video talks on fear. But what I'm saying now, the point I'm trying to say is, fear, right, you've got two different kinds again. It's like you've got the fear on the inside that you can't do something that you want to do. But there's no need to be afraid. You look at your knowledge, if you can do it, if you've got some ability, look at the reality, just weigh it up, you start to become more logical rather than based on being jumpy and feeling that. And you start to work with actually what you know. And if you've got a desire or a passion to do more, you won't be afraid to challenge yourself further, but you won't be afraid to actually use what you have. You've got a sword in your hand, can you fight in battle when all of your enemies have got swords? Yes, but it's like one person versus a million people, you might be afraid because you know that the sword's good, but it's not enough for that. You know, you don't have enough money in pocket to buy everything, but you can buy something, right? It's like, but you don't think about fear then. You know what I'm trying to say, right? So it shouldn't be about the fear, but the logical, the reality of that. Yeah. The other side of the fear, I'll say, the other kind of fear is when you're afraid about what people think and all the rest of it. You're afraid about people's attitudes towards you. People are going to diss you if you like, put you down, degrade you, try to embarrass you in front of people. They might use bad language, they might try to be disrespectful, they may look down upon you, frown upon you, they may make fun of you, they may laugh at you, they may tell you you're crap and you're no good. They may really show up, they may really have better abilities that are so much better than you, which will make you feel very embarrassed. But the thing you're forgetting is that's nothing. Why would you be afraid of someone's thoughts, someone's ideas about you? Why? It doesn't matter, does it? What matters is the attack. What's going to happen to you? It's like, shit, excuse my language, but, oh, there's a tiger, the tiger's looking at me, oh no. You're not afraid about the tiger looking at you, what he's thinking, are you? He's thinking, oh, you look delicious, right? That's right. You're afraid that he wants to eat you, he's going to kill you, and you can't fight that you can't kill the tiger, right? So I'm trying to say, so the people are the same thing. You shouldn't be afraid of people. If someone's not coming up to you and they're going to fight you, they're going to punch you, they've got a gun, a knife, or just a fist, or a group of them, and they're going to attack you, literally, and kill you, hopefully not. God forbid, such about. You're not going to say, well, if like your job's on the line or something like that, and like, you're afraid that you're going to lose your job, you're afraid you're going to lose you're going to get a bad situation where people disrespect you, and what are the consequences of that? That's what you're afraid of. Okay. So you've got to understand the before and the after. Why is it that you worry about things? And then you've got to look at it and say, well, I don't need to be worried about things which are empty. I need to be afraid of brute fact things. And, or let's say, not be afraid, but acknowledge what they are. Look and study if I want to, if I can either avoid it, take another path, not to say you're running away, but you may not need to face all battles head on and be like a hero. I'm just saying, you see what you need to do in order to cross such bridges, or you look at that and say, well, at least I've got some ability, I'm going to put some focus on my effort in building up knowledge or abilities or language or any kind of skill to deal with that. Knowing that other people out there in the world are not as inwardly focused as this even, and aware, because you've got so much confidence or so much, which is based on fear, their own. These bullies and stuff, I'm saying, or people that will make fun of other people, that will put people down anyway. These kind of people are just shallow anyway. You're already much stronger in yourself. You understand a lot more. Because you understand this. If you understand this, you know what you think, what it's about, what you are afraid of, what you don't have. They don't know anything. These people think they have everything. They think that you're just nothing. They think everybody's nothing. There's just crap on the world around them all day, and it's just money and this fame because it's putting on a show. They want you to be like a robot basically. So you've got to look at this person. Someone who's as shallow as that, as empty as that. Empty, right? Then what's it to be afraid of? There's no power in it, it's like a toast. So what I'm trying to say is, you've got to look at what you want, what you have, and how to deal with it. Focus on that. Feel your own energy. Don't feel empty because there's nothing there. If the thing's not attacking you as such, there's nothing to worry. If someone come up to you and say, I'm going to punch you, I'm going to attack you, this or that, you might be a bit more be aware and alert. Right? If a good fighter, a skilled fighter, be more alert and say, I need to fight. But you're still going to be nervous. You don't want to get attacked, do you? Anyway, you're going to be robbed, killed, starved, kicked out of your job, be made homeless, left alone on the streets. You don't want things to happen. So the reality is, you just look at different kind of what it is, rather than looking at being afraid. You look at what you've got and what it's all about. That's what I think. Okay. So I don't have much else to say in this video. I think that's basically covered the basic topic, okay, about fear. That's how I feel about it, okay? So you've got to understand, what it is you're really, really thinking about. What it is, what is it doing? Just thinking about this, what's it doing for you? Even you now, stop for one moment. What have you been thinking about, right? What about tomorrow? What's happening tomorrow? Where are you going? What people do? Who do you know? What happened this week or last week? Did someone say something to you that you can't understand that person? That person is just really, you can't communicate with them. Or there's some difficulty coming up in your life. Is that a real attack on you? Can you go through your life still, Is this thing going to kill you? Is this thing going to really harm you so bad? You need to ask yourself. And if it's not, then there's nothing to worry about. Usually you've just got to deal with it the best way you can, or don't worry about it. You don't need to prove to others, because you get stuck in these webs, confusion. Your mind, so how deep does the rabbit hole go, kind of thing. Fear is no use to you. Remember that, okay? So you was going to cross a river, let's say, some rapids, some crazy wild waters. You was going to cross these rapids, this river or such or something. And you say, damn, how am I going to cross this? You don't look at it and just say, oh God, it's just such a danger. It may look scary, but I'm saying, if you're thinking about getting across, or you're thinking about that, if you're thinking about ways to get across, or is it possible, or this or that, that's a different thing. But then a different thing is also looking at something and saying, oh my God, that's so dangerous, that's such a challenge, so difficult that I can't deal with that. There's nothing. The fear itself can stop you. It's not even the thing. You know what I'm saying? So you want to look at when something is nothing, you should become something. You know what I'm saying? The yin and yang again, right? So you become something. You fill the space before somebody else. You know what I mean? You use your ideas to use your mind to fill space, to destroy any possibilities of that. Try to fill spaces with something. You want something, try and get it. It's not like you let that fill the space. You have nothing because of this thing, and it's actually nothing. That doesn't make sense. Nothing and nothing. And yin and yang, it doesn't work. Yin and yang go two sides, right? So you look at the thing and you say, well, it's nothing right now. It's not harming me here. Okay, I'm just safe here. From this viewpoint, you always look, when you cross the road, you look left and right around the traffic. You don't just walk out. And you say, okay, how can I cross this road? Or, I feel hungry. Oh, you're a little bit too late now. And but what can you do? Before you die, what can you do? You know what I mean? This is the basic thing, right? It's not about what people think. It's not about what you think about what people think. You're afraid about what's going to happen. So until then, you've got to decide. Right? So if you know, the last time I said, if you know why you're afraid, that's different to not knowing. You're just afraid because everybody hates you. It's not the point. Just nothing. If something's not a direct thing, is what I'm trying to say, a direct attack on you, then there's nothing to be afraid of. If you are not getting hurt and you're in a position to think and make choices, that's a power. That's power right here. Yeah? But if you're in a position to make choices, it's like what are the instances? You're studying this thing, you see the guy's holding a knife or a gun, you know, then yeah, you understand what it is. So you don't need to step up there and be the big hero, because everybody's going to call you this or that. The next day, if you want to take that guy out in a fight, people will say, oh, he's a hero, he took down the gunman. And you become more confident from that, he's a hero of the town. And just because they call you hero, you become a hero. You become so familiar yourself, the next time it happens, someone just kills you. For example, hopefully never. I'm just saying, if you were to like, excuse me, if you were to run away or back down, they might say, yeah, you know, they would have done the same thing if they got the knife, or they might put you down just for the sake of it, or people might just say that you were a coward because you didn't deal with that bully, or you didn't deal with this or that, or they would have done it differently. Would they have if they were in your shoes? It doesn't matter if they would or they wouldn't, but they will still be there. But the most important thing is that you avoided a situation you didn't have to face. It's different. That's what you try to avoid dangers what martial arts teaching us. So it's like food. There's no avoiding it. It's like, do you want to live or do you want to die? If you have to eat, otherwise you will die. You must eat, right? So you don't run away from it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you may run away from a tiger. You might not go to hunt the animal. Because the animal may kill it. You know, so you have to try to deal with things the right way around it. So being afraid of something, you've got to know why you're afraid. Not know that, you've got to know what the dangers are. You've got to study things. You've got to read it, knowing that every situation is different. You've got to read it on actual live when it's happening as well, which is also very different. You can't get that twisted and mixed up with what you already know or think you do. But you also got to have some back knowledge on the subject and studying beforehand. Crossing that bridge before it comes to it, you know. They say cross, you know, the first step, you know, if a million step, 1,000 miles in, the first step is in the mind. You make the choice, right? Right? But it shouldn't be, you can't just make a step blindly. Like, you step blindly with your feet, you still can make mistakes. It's the same with the mind. You can't just step blindly in your mind based on your attitude, based on your desire, based on your fear, or your confidence, or anything like that. Or what someone's told you, or what you want to become the number one, or human angry, or you want to become good in everybody's eyes. No. You should understand what it is, what it might entail, what the step connected in the world, what that, you know, it's like you connecting with the world, with nature, you know, I'm saying the world, because it basically is. What the possible results of that, but nobody can know everything, and plus, you know, every situation is different. But like studying it, studying other people's various results that they've had, you know, things like that, and how things can differ, you know. So looking into something more in detail. So you start to become more of a better reader, studier, you know, student of life, and you learn to understand more about yourself. You develop certain things, and you steer away from certain things too, and you become stronger in certain areas. We're all stronger and weaker in different areas, but that's okay, like personal differences. It's either positive or negative, where you want to live more, where you want to die more, you know what I'm saying? So basically, you won't be thinking about fear, you'll be thinking about what affects what, and you'll be starting to study how to deal with certain things. And yeah, fair enough, it doesn't so knowing that, you know, whatever you may do, however you may speak, may affect someone's attitude, and you know that all people around you, you know, may be different, so people may have bad attitudes, they may be more accepting of some things, and some people may be less accepting of some ideas of yours, let's say. Some people may find you offensive for this or that, some people may just want to give you a hard time. That doesn't matter, you've got to learn to say, well, you are all this here, you know, the flesh, the bones, you know, here in life, you know what I'm saying, the mind, the heart, in this world. And that's it. There's only one sun, let's say, you know, for our earth, let's say, you know, in the universe. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's what you've got to be like, you know, you've got to be like that. No matter how much darkness there is in this room, there's only one light just shining there, no matter what you're trying to say. So really, you know, it's like you've got to understand what you want, you know, and if you want it, and I'm not saying be confident and face everybody and be confident you can do it. I'm not saying that. That's just ridiculous. It's absolutely impossible. Not because, oh, you're just a naturally timid person and that's what people are like. We're talking about finding the actual source of fear and what it is. It's actually a lack of understanding, or a lack of, which is also at the same time a level of understanding, knowing what you have and what you don't have. And it is something that I question marks, so if you can study those. And it is something that a big question mark, as in when I don't know what I need, or I don't know what I don't need, then this is things that need to be studied. You don't be afraid of school, or afraid of college, or afraid of the world. You learn to learn. You learn to study what you need for what, to get you where, because you want to what, and what is great. It goes on until you can get more. That's what you want to do. That's the only way. They always say what's in Zen about confusion. The whole mind is like based on confusion. The mind can only be confused. It's always asking questions. You can never be perfect, like you know the answer to everything. So the more questions, it's better than more answers, as I always say. So because you can get more and more answers as you go, but they're not the final answer. No answer is the final answer. Even together, they're not even, all of them, you can never get to that answer. Because that will take forever. So things aren't there forever, things change. You go to sit on that bicycle that you haven't sat on for many years, or something on the building just crumbles, the thing just breaks apart, That's what happens. You go and, you're waiting to tell somebody, you love them, or you tell them, and the next time you see that person, you're like 95 years old, and you're like, shit, So for example, someone's like, older, or you go to visit your friend, you've been meaning to do it for many years, and you go there and you find out that person's died, or that person's not living there anymore. It's been 85 years since that person, whatever, was living there. You sent a letter to someone. And you keep thinking about, it can be anything, technology, everything just moves on. So you've got to be realistic, you've got to be scientific, you've got to be concrete, real, studying what it is. But don't get lost in all this crap, because a lot of stuff can be. You have to study what you are doing, and who you are, what you're thinking. It doesn't matter what people think. It matters what they do. If someone's going to attack you, yeah. But you need to know and prepare what you can do beforehand. So if you've got a lot of worries or fears, and you're natural, just like me, I'm the same. I worry about many things. Myself, I'm very worried when it comes to anything. But it's not a worry that takes over me. My free time, I'm fine, I'm doing what I'm doing. But it's like, if you're just afraid to carry yourself and afraid of your own thoughts and abilities and don't trust yourself and you're just nervous about this and that and you don't know why, that is ridiculous. That's very foolish. You need to study and understand yourself. That's how I feel anyway. You shouldn't be afraid of yourself. But if you are afraid of other people, as in you don't understand other people, I'm the same as you. I understand totally that. That's true, I don't understand other people, so therefore I will be a little bit dubious. I don't know, what they're thinking, how people are going to react about this or that. So you can only read the world the best you can. They say the more you read a book, the more times you read a book, the more you understand it. It's like from what corner, what angle, And you can only try to make communication do the right thing. If someone turns around to attack you, if someone wants to fight you or this or that, then you might be a bit nervous. So put your hands on a fight. How well can you fight? You may get knocked out if you can't fight, if you're not strong enough for this age. I'm trying to say. If someone's going to kick you out of a job or they're not going to listen to you, or you might be. I'm trying to say, it's like, what can you say? What can you do in that situation? You can either resolve it or not. It depends on the mind and the individuals you're dealing with. So even if you may be facing hardships in your life, due to things in the world around you, different people you come to. Some people are easier to communicate with, they think more similar to you, or some people think something different to you. So there's no perfect way, there's no actual way. But some people, and groups of people as well as single people, are swayed by the waves of whatever kind of attitudes of people around them in the society is. In the workplace, even family members sometimes, different cultures, schools, whatever. So the most important thing is you've got to understand you're unique, the same as everybody else is unique, but you can more unique than that. The more strong when you're controlling yourself. You start trying to hold this, hold that, you give up your arms, your legs, your mind. If you're holding on that train, it drags you that way. If you're holding on that bus, it drags you that way. Tearing you apart. You're holding on to everything. And all this energy is going over and it's just getting exhausted. You're becoming, you're trying to control the whole universe, you can't. It's just dragging you around. And all you're doing is trying to go with that flow, go with this flow. You're just not really being anything yourself. You should be more afraid of that. You should be more afraid or more certain that you don't want to be that. You don't want to waste your life on that. Just flowing with that and becoming nothing. That's the life worse than death. It's an ignorance, it's an existence. So no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, you can always make choices, you can always look outside the window and stuff. You can always look somewhere else. You've got the internet, you've got everything. For example, you can always talk to people, communicate others, you can find different ways to do different things. Change your job, change this, change that. Talk to somebody else. Ask for someone's opinion. You will be surprised that there are people that think like you too. And what would they do? Talk to them about it. A lot of people will just tell you, be confident, man. Do this, do that. But that's not the end result. That's not the point. Being confident doesn't always help you. The same as being afraid of it. It's like you may think yourself so clever. I've had it many times too. You may, for example, say, well, you know what? I was afraid to go in that room. And did you see what happened? Another person went in the room and he was eaten by the tiger. Well, I'm so happy I didn't go in there because it was my fear that saved me. It's ridiculous. It's not the fear at all. It's just the action, what happened. But you say, well, the fear triggered it. Yeah, fair enough. Well, where's the logic in just there's no reason. Where's the mind, the natural feeling, your mind, your heart, your feeling? It's just it's the same as the confidence, The confidence isn't actually helping at all. Exactly, this is what he did. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, as I'm just trying to say, so basically, you just feel, you just know what you know, think about what you know, you just use that in whatever way you will. That's what you do. And it doesn't matter what someone tells you about being confident and all this, because if you be confident, that might not just help you. It's not the being confident, is it? It's just you doing it. So it's like, why base your actions on uncontrollable feelings which are coming from your own one body itself? You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, it's like you should be trying to develop abilities, and knowledge and ability, and using that. I mean, that's really reassuring, right? Don't get too reassured, but reassuring them. Look at what you have. You're a soldier, you're in armour, you've got your gun there. You've got a big truck so you can drive through the zombies and shoot them all day. So for example, you for example say for an argument's sake, you say, oh, okay, this is what I've got here. Look at what you have. Yeah? You don't walk out into the freezing cold weather because somebody's telling you you're a coward if you don't go out there to catch some fish, fishing in the so I say you go out into the cold and you've got no clothes and you're butt naked, you end up getting pneumonia or freezing on the spot. It's ridiculous, right? You do a foolish thing because of confidence. No matter how much your fear is or how strong the confidence is, at the same time they can't always, that no matter how overwhelming it may be, how strong it may not be enough to, let's say the last straw, let's say the broken camel's back. It's like, it's like that, the last, it's like dominoes, one triggers the leader. It may not be enough as just one simple action, one simple true, thing that you do, right action, right move. That's what I say, the one choice you make, doing something the right way. And it saves less time, it saves less energy, that may even echo across and send ripples out into your life, including money, health, time, anything. So these little feelings which are nothing within you, only you can feel them anyway. It's nothing. So you start with nothing, you end with nothing. If your goal is to get something, what do you want to do? What do you have? You avoid getting punched or you avoid getting attacked, and that's the right thing to do. You avoid danger, that's the right thing to do, no matter what anyone says. Yeah? But if someone thinks this of you, if someone calls you names or someone looks down upon you, those are not, they're not attacks, they're not attacks. You say, well yes they are, because everybody else thinks I'm an idiot now. It's not attacking them. Everybody's got their own mind. They can choose if they want to respect you or treat you fairly. Everyone can. There will be one or two people that would, believe it or not, anymore. But these people, it's not doing you any good, you know. They're not doing you any real harm just by thinking that, unless it's like a direct attack, you know, on you and such. Like for your job, or let's say physical, someone attacking you, you know, this or that. Yeah. So I'm going to stop this video now. I want to say thanks a lot, thanks for watching everybody. You just take care, okay? As I say, it always means a lot to be able to share with you, okay? It's just my thoughts on fear. I didn't mean this one to be so long. I think this video has gone very long this time, okay? I want to make these particular philosophy videos contain a good space, at least let's say 15 or 20 minutes usually. It depends on the topic. We can always redo like extra talk videos on certain topics. I'm coming back and I would love to hear your views and your ideas and how you feel about fear. And if you do feel fear and confidence are things that need to be kind of practiced or worked, there is no wrong or right. We just need to know from different people's views. There's different ways to go through life, different paths, roads, you know. And that was that, you know, like they say, you know, it's the same thing like people always say, you know, what's it like in Zen and in Buddhism when they say there's a million different doors for a million different people, and that, you know. So I want to stop this here, depends how you go through it, okay? Love your life, keep healthy, okay? Keep happy and healthy in yourself, take care of yourself, take care of others, and do try to be more realistic, go back to reality, and think about things more carefully, rather than thinking about, and don't think about things just in order to be able to deal with that. Don't think about logical things and study abilities to deal with problems like you see as a problem. You shouldn't just look at what can be done. What can be done? You want to do things like you shouldn't be trying to always just look at how you can deal with people. How can you try and change this person? Because you might spend your whole life studying how to studying someone's mind, somebody else's mind. You know, you just improve based on that, basing your mind on somebody else's. How you can do things to make that person happy or make that person accept you. That's just ridiculous, in my opinion. Even if that's someone you love, because then you're giving your whole being up in this life for nothing. It could be your lover, it could be your mum, your dad, your kids, your boss, or someone who's going to kill you. It might be positive or negative, you see. You know what I'm saying? You don't give up now. It's like you just see what you can do with this, what you can do with that. You don't give up all your energy and exhaust yourself. You do what is necessary to get somewhere or something. You know, some people you can't reach through, you can't, you know, open, they're not doors, they are walls. The truth is the truth. Some things just are the way they are. You can't change them, you can't say the ground is the sky, the sky is the ground, you can't do that, you know what I'm saying, right? So some people are just the way they are. You can't change them, they can't change you. You're developing in certain ways, the same way you will develop in certain ways. The same way some other people are very, you know, nice and easygoing and you can communicate with you friendly. The same thing, you see. Again, so it's not like I'm telling you, so that's what it is, you know, and I keep saying, oh, you see, it's not me telling you, see, what do you see? It's nothing to do with me. You understand it, you know? Yeah, so, you know what I'm trying to say now? So, you know what I mean? Yeah, so, you know, you don't want to keep doing things to, you know, try to make others happy and all the rest of it, and that's all there is to it. Just for your own safety, you know what I'm trying to say? Avoid crap at the end of the day. If you keep walking into a wall, what do? You suddenly turn away in the middle of the night, you feel where that door is, you find a way, balance. Holding on to nothing again, losing your balance again, right? You're holding something hot, right? You're burning your hand, try and let go. Might be a bit hard, but you do it, right? I'm cold. Your natural senses telling you all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're shouting, talking so much, feels like that you've got a bad throat, then stop it. how much of the pain and everything, all the hardships in your life is coming just from your actions, based on your thoughts, or just from your thoughts alone, which is also an action in a way. Like you speak to yourself, you're just exhausting yourself. You go to sleep thinking about this stuff, even things that never happened, your mind worrying about certain things. We all do it. I have bad dreams as well. I've got the doctor psychiatrist telling everybody. But you see, this is a very good coverage on fear. And this video has done nothing for many people. This video here has done nothing even for me. Because even me, I worry about things a lot. I'll be facing things, I'll be worried about it. It's hard for me, let's say, being a teacher as well. Teaching lots of students, I worry about many things. For example, one thing, if I was to face some kind of real big difficulty in my life, I didn't know what to do, I'd be nervous. It's a natural reaction. We all have natural feelings. I'm similar to smile and things like that, But you learn to learn. You learn to develop yourself. You learn to practice. You learn and what you want to do. You have to learn what you want to do. Don't let yourself feel that you've been dictated or forced on, that you can't think a certain way like that. You must want this and you can't not want that or anything. You have to see. Find it, because it'll be too late one day. You only got one chance to live your life. So open your mind and understand what you're doing now, what you have been doing, what you could have been doing, what you could do. Do you want to have a go at that? Take a step at that. Look at different methods. But don't give all that time up for all it is just for that. If it's not the main thing. Look for what's important in your life. Go through doors, stop running into walls, start learning, go through this door, run to the next door, find your way around the level so you play a computer game and you get better and better and you just find where the doors are, you can just fly straight through it. And practice and then study and then talk to other people, listen to other people's thoughts on fear. The more you read about these, you have these books and videos and things about people that are trying to tell you how to overcome fear and how to be confident and all this, excuse my language, this shit, but it's not all crap, but it's coming from their points of view. It's like the more you read, it's a good thing to do, but the more you read about from people with different points of view about different elements of life, let's say such as confidence and fear, you start with people who may be like nobodies or they might be famous people usually. But it's like what you do is you sum it all up and you start to say, you know what, I understand myself more than this. I'm kind of like that, I'm not like that. You start to know yourself even more. And it doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, you start to put them down and you say, you know what, I haven't read any of those books for months. They're on the shelf, or I've heard of this, I've heard of that, or I've read that to some degree, or I've seen that documentary, or whatever. But you start to realise that who you are more, especially as you go through your life and develop more as well. Become more mature, but mature is not something you try and be, it's a natural, true scientific development that you learn more and you become more knowledgeable. It's the knowledge is power, it really is. You don't try to be knowledgeable, you don't try to be wiser. You're on the path of nature, trying to be doing that, trying to go back into feeling how you feel, that is wise, I feel. But don't try and be a kind of wise like the wise man's club, where they're trying to teach you, for example, how to be, or someone's telling you, this is the way you should be in society, this is a respectable person, this is this or that. You've got to sum it all up. You've got to blatant things like what's disruptive and pure animal, blatant, behaviour, just mean, just foul, sick behaviour, where you can still act humane and be like a human, be normal. But you don't have to fit into the exact same fitted tie, suit and shoe that everybody else has to. Or the same frame of speech and how you treat others just because of the way other people treat people. Because that's, if you were like those other people that are being the victims now, it would be a good thing, wouldn't it? But some of those victims are just in the wrong mind frame. You've got to realise that you don't have to be in that mind frame. If you understand who you really are, it's the most important thing. The final point, right? Stay focused on what you want in this life, something that's more meaningful to you, because everybody's unique. And I'll say this, and the last point I'll say, is don't fear, yourself inside, that's ridiculous. Fear not developing an understanding of it, yourself more. But if you're afraid of certain things in this life, try to study what you can do about yourself, controlling yourself, because you can never control that now. To deal with it. That's what martial art teaches about anyway as well. So in life we all need to learn this kind of philosophy. Rather than trying to deal with everything, every problem, exhausting ourselves, or not at all, just giving up because we think, oh, there's nothing we can do about it, like something has to be done about it kind of thing. How did you cross the bridge? It's got nothing to do with this side of the bridge, that side of the bridge, the water underneath it, the bridge, none of that. Fair enough, you've got to study the wood, how deep's the water, the nuts and bolts holding that together, the land, and then what's over the other side. You've got to study all the gods that are there. Can you speak their language? Do you have money to pay the god? Many things, yeah. Do you have your sword with you? Because they need to fight the enemies on the other side. You've got to think of many things, let's say. Hypothetical way of saying, such, but what I'm saying though. Yeah, it's like the truth is, just crossing the bridge is easier than just doing something is sometimes easier than thinking about it. You know what I'm trying to say? The same way you say that, thinking about something is more easier than doing it, yeah? But sometimes doing something is more easier than thinking about it. Because you're thinking about things which are not there. Don't try and give yourself all the answers. Give yourself more questions and look for what nuts and bolts and pieces of wood and tools you get from the questions. I'm going into a village or a town and said, oh, you know what, I want to get over to the other side. How can we get over to the other side of the river? And they say, well, you can't do that, there's no bridges. Oh yeah, who's the bridge maker in town? You need to go to the craftsman down in the village. If you go down there, it's like a computer game, it's like real life. You go down there, the guy says, oh yeah, I used to build bridges, I can tell you a lot about how to build a bridge. Oh yeah, but I don't have any tools or anything. Okay, and he tells you where another place you can go to get tools. You get it all together, there's all these questions that you find your own map that eventually leads you there. It might take a long time, so you can't cross it directly. You might jump in the water like idiot, confident, I can swim across. And you might be eaten by piranhas. Because I said, you build all this information up, and you get across a lot more quicker in a way. You don't rush, take things slowly, calm, patient, easily. That way you can cross easier. And it's like, and surprises come, beautiful, like surprises. Like you may not even need to build the bridge. They might say, well, you know what? We'll help you to build a bridge. They'll come together and everybody will help you. But it's joking. They'll see that there's a wise person asking questions, someone who's humble, not someone who's walking around carrying like they know everything. This is the kind of know-it-all kind of a person, also, which has also got a baseline in the field inside it. You've got those kind of people too. You may even be travelling around talking to different people and somebody else knows something that all the other people didn't know. And that person, another one, because you decide to ask one more person. And that person says, yeah, actually there is there's a new bridge built just down by the windmill or the cake shop. There's another bridge down there. Really? They said there were no bridges. He said, yeah, well, they don't know. Well, they'll tell you. And maybe you'll find something else out. So the more you find out, the more beautiful. There's things that you're learning about, things that you find, maybe more friends you make. From different subjects, you learn more things about other things too. You'll learn all these things, all this knowledge will come together. This is more amazing, more powerful than worrying about that crap, about the bridge or something about a certain situation. You're trying to say, all these things come together. And you learn so much. You had such a wonderful day today, this afternoon, in the town, talking to these people. When you get across the bridge, you might even say, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow. It's late now. You just go home and you'll be thinking about that. You'll be talking to your friend and say, you know, today I had a really interesting day. I didn't know that town was so interesting now. I was speaking to the wood carver, I was speaking to the tool maker, the bloody, everybody, you know what I mean? You'll be like really, really inspired to certain stories maybe and different things. Or the guy will tell you, you know what, I have a boat, I can take you to the other side if you like. Or you might say, oh, how about we go fishing one night, we go fishing together. And then you'll see about the boat, then you'll be on that boat talking about the boat, or about something else, and then the conversation will lead you somewhere else. You know what's at the end of this river? Well, down by the end there's a little place I used to go and basketball. You know what I'm saying? So, amazing things happen. You don't know what's around the next corner, good or bad anyway, so don't fear this or that. and just face things more logically. Wise, love life and see the beauty in it, But always avoid, running into danger, and always try to avoid getting hit and all the rest of it. Always try to be ready, have some abilities, knowledge, confidence, focus on yourself, that kind of confidence. Be more ready. That's going to make you more ready. Not trying to be ready, but just like being ready, but readying yourself, readying your armor, your sword, kind of thing. That kind of attitude, is what I'm saying. And all the rest of it will just fall into place. Be it a path around the rock, let's say, if you can't move it. You know what I'm trying to say? You're going another path, or actually resolving the problem. Okay? It will seem to resolve itself. Things seem to resolve themselves or go into some kind of development or undevelopment themselves. It's not always you doing it. It's something that just happens. You say something and someone smiles. And when you say something and someone is inspired by what you've said, sometimes it's not even that. It's just that person has a similar way of thinking, or they like something you've said and they smile because their thoughts are already similar to that. If you would have said something else, that person might not even like it. That's what I say. They might disagree. Even though it may be a very positive thing, or it might be a really good thing. You know what I'm saying? A hammer may be good for some tools, the screwdriver for another, for some situation. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah? So it's not that the tool's useless, it's that the tool only works for certain things. So you don't keep trying to use a screwdriver on some kind of nail which is not a screw. You know what I'm trying to say? You're trying to say? You learn, you don't keep messing around with that. But when work is there to be done, you can do it if you've got enough power, you've got enough desire and determination, and those you can do really good things. Don't try and control human beings, and don't try and worry about what they think. Just look at the reality of the physical world around you, the living or the non-living, and you are alive. What can you do while you're alive? Can you do these things when you're not alive? No. Right? That's basically it, right? So keep yourself healthy, your body, your mind and body, okay? Train hard, stay safe. Thank you very much for watching. Train hard, stay safe. More videos coming soon. Don't just keep thinking or listening or talking all day. Study life and really live it. Go outside, go for a walk, do some exercise. This is all very, very good for you. Train hard and stay safe. Thank you for watching. Thank you.